In it. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Mukesh English. This is Mukesh Soni. In this video, we are going to have a discussion of the question paper of 4th semester BCA B.Sc Generic English August-September examination, 2023 examination, 2023 examination question paper solution under Bangalore University. And this question paper can also be considered as a practice paper for the BNE students, for the Bangalore North University students also. So let's have a solution. Let's have a discussion of the 4th semester B.Sc 2023 examination question paper. To begin with, unit number 1, out of 7 questions, you are supposed to opt 5 questions, and each question is for 2 marks. Number 1, who is Sandip? Sandip is the boy to whom Nandini was engaged. Why did the police call Bratty's family? The police called Bratty's family to identify the corpse of number 1084, that of Bratty. Who is Bini? Bini is Jyoti's wife, Jyoti, who is Sujata's eldest son, or Sujata's daughter-in-law. Bini is Sujata's daughter-in-law. We can also say like this. Question number 4, give reason for the celebration in Sujata's family. On the anniversary of Bratty's death, which also happens to be his birthday, Sujata's daughter Tully is hosting a party for her fiancé Tony Kapadia and his family. And there's one more references here. It can also be the engagement date or the engagement party. Then, why did Sujata meet Nandini? Sujata met Nandini, that is Bratty's beloved and co-insurgent, to know the reason behind Bratty's death. Nandini told Sujata that Bratty and his friends were killed because of the betrayal of a friend, Anindya. Bratty, like an idiot, had trusted Anindya because he was recruited by his friend Neetu. Who is Anindya? Anindya is Bratty's friend who betrayed Bratty. Nandini said that Anindya's betrayal had caused the death of Bratty and others. Who was Dibyanath's profession? Sorry, what was Dibyanath's profession? Dibyanath was chartered accountant. So out of these 7 questions, you are supposed to attempt 5 questions, each for 2 marks. So as of now, we have discussed here 10 marks questions. Now we are going to have discussion of another 10 marks questions. So out of 4 questions, you are supposed to opt here 2 questions, and you need to answer in a page or each in a page. So each question is for 5 marks. So to begin with, comment on the condition of Somu's family. So Somu's mother was crying over the miseries of life. She told Sujata, I'm a doomed woman, doomed from birth. She spoke of the miseries of underprivileged. They lived in pathetic conditions. Even the wild foxes and dogs weep over my fate, she said. She said, my father married me off years ago. My man never had a chance to learn how to read and write. He was the eldest in the family. He had to run the household. That's about Somu's father, or Somu's father. Thus, Somu's mother explained how difficult life it was for such persons as had neither education nor any means of wherewithal. One man without resources had to take care of the family. Somu's father was so simple man that he never tried to grab the land as others had done. Such a man had nothing but misery, misery all the way. Somu's family expects their son to bring transformation in the present pitiable conditions, but the expectations remained unfulfilled due to Somu's death. Question number 2, briefly discuss the symbol of appendicitis in Mother of 1084. In Mother of 1084 by Mahashweta Devi, the symbol of appendicitis represents the way the protagonist Sujata deals with her son Bratty's involvement in the Naxalite movement. When Bratty is arrested and imprisoned for his political activities, Sujata falls seriously ill and is diagnosed with appendicitis. Appendicitis serves as a symbol of the physical and emotional pain that Sujata experiences due to her son's radical political beliefs and actions. Just as appendicitis is a condition that requires surgical intervention to remove the inflamed appendix, Sujata's emotional turmoil and distress over her son's predicament require her to confront her own belief and her beliefs and values. The surgical procedure to remove the appendix can be seen as a metaphor for Sujata's inner struggle to understand her son's motivations and choices. It forces her to reevaluate her own stance on the political issues that divide the family and society at large. The pain of appendicitis becomes a symbol of the pain and conflict that Sujata endures as she grapples with a loyalty to her son and her beliefs in the face of the Naxalite movement's radicalism. Overall, the symbol of appendicitis in Mother of 1084 represents the internal and external conflicts that Sujata faces as a mother, torn between her love for her son and her convictions in a politically charged and turbulent environment. Question number 3. Analyze the character of Divyanath. What an irony! Divyanath has nothing Divya in him. He is the bloody wretch, bereft of all graces of humanism. The novelist has presented this character as a foil to highlight the virtues of husband of Sujata. Divyanath, being the only son, had been pampered with vengeance. Nothing is said about his early life, while as he is extremely careless. In the beginning of the story, he had three children: Jyoti, who was 10, Nipa, 8, and Tuli, 6. But his wife recollects that he had never helped during pregnancy or at the time of the childbirth. Sujata would not forget his careless attitude, how miserable he had made his wife. No good husband will leave his wife alone at this critical hour. More contemptible it was that he supported his mother, who had, like him, left her daughter in law every time she was to give birth to a child. Mother and son were the chips of the same block. The son had no sense of guilt when he said to his wife, Ma is too soft. Can't you understand that? She can't stand all this pain and the commotion. It did not matter to him that wife was to make preparations for the delivery all by herself while in pain. Divyanath had no grief when he got the news of his son's death. He refused to go to identify his son's body, but rushed to pull strings in the official excuse me, but rushed to pull strings in the official circles to ensure that Bratti's name was not mentioned with those of the killed ones. Even he did not allow Sujata to take his car to the morgue, lest it should be identified by anybody. His business interest had killed the father in him. Now the section number 3, where you need to answer out of the two questions, three questions, you need to opt one, and this section is for 10 marks. Discuss Mother of 1084 as a saga of grieving mother. The answer begins. Set over the set over the late 60s and early 70s during the first phase of Maoist inspired Naxalites insurgency in West Bengal, Mother of 1084 by Indian writer and activist Mashweta Devi is a focused examination of the impact of targeted violence on those left behind through the story of one woman stranded in a loss and grief. Sujata comes from Sujata comes from a background of privilege, raised in a wealthy Calcutta family and afforded in an education, but in marriage, her life is constrained by the roles her social class expects of her. At the time of the critical events in this novel, she is in her early 50s. Her oldest son and daughter, Jyoti and Nipa, both are married and each one has child. Jyoti and his family, as custom would have it, lives in the family home. The younger daughter, Tuli, has a serious boyfriend, Sujata's husband, Dibyanath, or he is often described as Jyoti's father, is a successful businessman with when his wife decided she wanted no more children, a string of mistress on the side. Sujata also has a job at a banking office taken on her own initiative when her mother in law was still alive and commanding the daily affairs of the household. It is something she has refused to give up. Brati, the youngest son, had always been unlike his other siblings, imaginative and sensitive. He was easily frightened and deeply attached to his mother. From his earliest years on through adolescence, the bond was close while there was little love between Divyanath and his second son. Naturally, Sujata was blamed for spoiling him and making him weak. When Brat is killed with a group of young Naxalite revolutionaries, his father's immediate concern is to assure that no one knows of his involvement. He pulls a few strings and Bratty's name is omitted from the news reports, while at home all evidence of his existence is cleared away and locked in his bedroom on the uppermost floor. Sujata finds herself on the wrong side of her own family, on the side of the dead men who had failed to consider the shame and embarrassment he would cause. She is left alone to try to make sense of why her son had been drawn to such a radical movement and to understand the events of the night on the eve of his 20th birthday that had cost him his life. It was a death that could not be classified in any of the usual ways: illness, accident, and crime. All that Bratti could be charged with was that he had lost faith in the social system itself. Bratti had decided for himself that freedom could not come from the path society and the state offered. Bratti had not remained content with writing slogans on the wall. He had come to commit himself to the slogans. There lay his offense. Extending from morning to evening over the course of a single day, exactly over years after his death, mother of 1084 chronicles Sujata's attempts to honor her son's memory and perhaps find some sense of closure. At home, Tully is preparing to hold her engagement party. Although it is her brother's birth anniversary, the date has been determined by her future mother in law's American guru. Her own mother's feelings be damned. Between attending to the necessary arrangements in the house, Sujata will make two excursions that will help fill in some of the missing information she craves but not necessarily brings any peace. In the afternoon, she travels out from central Calcutta to the colony where the mother of Somu, one of Bratti's friends, lives. The young man killed had spent the last hour in her house. Sujata had first met Sonu's mother when she went to identify her son's body, and she had found in this poor woman a kind of kindred spirit, another mother who understood the loss. But face to face with the graphic details of that fateful night and the absolutely devastating effect it has had on this impoverished family, she is reminded that her social status will forever be a barrier that cannot be wished away. The two women, brought together in shock and pain at the morgue and the crematorium, share an affinity that can never be more than temporary. Time was stronger than grief. Grief is the bank, time the flowing river, heaping earth upon grief. Later that afternoon, Sujata makes another outing, this one closer in location and class, but again one with a divide that cannot be breached. For the first and last time, she visits Bratti's girlfriend Nandini, who has recently been released from prison, bearing the injuries of torture and incarceration. In this encounter, there's a bitter demonstration of the activist's unshakable resolve, something the grieving mother will never fully appreciate. Upon returning home to where guests are gathered, Sujata is clearly affected by her experience and all of the memories and details that have come back to her over the course of that day. But even as pain rips through her abdomen, she must once more attempt to play her role as wife and mother, at least for the moment. One of Devi's most widely read books, Mother of 1084, is not explicitly concerned with the broader political context of the Naxalite insurgency. Rather, it turns its attention to the intimate human experience, the appeal of the moment to individuals from different backgrounds, the reality of betrayal, the reality of betrayal, the brutality of the violence, and the wide range of responses from the families and the communities affected. That is not to suggest that this is not an intensely political work, but by centering a political protagonist who finds herself navigating the space between the shocking indifference of a family and the social class, the devastation of the bereaved who exist in the midst of conflict and destitution, and the anger of the activist committed to the cause at all cost. Devi, Ma Shweta Devi crafts a powerful, unforgiving narrative. Sujata is the troubled conscience of the tightly woven novella, but one is ever aware how very small she is against society's pretense of normality in a time of upheaval. Question number two. Nandini and Sujata's conversation reveals the unknown side of Prati. Explain. Sujata went to meet Nandini because Brati, she and her son Brati were close friends. Sujata came to know about her when Nandini phoned to Brati, and it was by chance received by Sujata. It was a surprise to Sujata when Nandini asked her why she had not gone to the bank. Since Sujata did not know that Brati had told Nandini about a job in the bank, Sujata told her in a matter of fact manner that she wouldn't go to the bank today because her younger daughter Tuli was about to be engaged. Nandini gave her address to Sujata with a formal request to meet her whenever they had time. Sujata thought like a mother that Brati would be married to Nandini, unaware she was that Brati and Nandini were lovers in the way the common boys and girls were. On one occasion, Sujata asked Brati who Nandini was and when he would let her see this girlfriend of his. Sujata could imagine that they had become friends because they had dedicated themselves to the same noble cause, had vowed to live and die it in order to tell his mother that she should not harbor notions. Brati said very frankly, she has no beauty, and his father was not like her. As the circumstances changed all of a sudden, and Brati was no more, he was killed by the police. Sujata could not control. Sujata meets Nandini after the death of Brati. Sujata had told Nandini the first reason for which was love between Brati, sympathy, Nandini. When Sujata asked Nandini directly, "You loved Prati very, very much, didn't you?" Nandini replied that she did not think of him like a lover. She said, "I don't know whether or not I'll forget him. I don't know whether or not he will fade from my memory, but it is not Brati alone. When I think so many died, for what?" Thus, she made it clear that she loved him not due to any personal reasons, but for his being a devoted worker who had died for the cause, keeping his mother in dark. During the talk, Nandini asked Sujata if Brati had told her about all that had happened on the 16th of January. She was surprised to learn that Bratti had told nothing about that, in spite of the fact that he loved none other than his mother in his family. Nandini made it clear that Bratti did not love anybody merely for being his father, brother, or sister. Nandini said very plainly he did not have faith anyone else in the house. Does one have to love and trust others only because they happen to be one's father or brother or sister, even if there is no gesture of love for them? This remark made it clear that Bratti had no love for his lecherous father, lazy father, or his irresponsible sisters. He loved his mother because Sujata was tormented and treated by her husband. At the same time, Sujata loved him more than any other person because he was honest, upright, and loving. Perhaps he could not tell his mother about his aspirations and activities because he did not want to cause any pain or any pain to her. A mother would not like so dear a son or as Bratti to stake his life in any way. Bratti, being indifferent from all, would not leave his mother to suffer indignities in the family. He had the chance to go away for further studies or to base in his movement, but he stayed at home to take care of his mother. Nandini knew it well, but Sujata did not have the slightest idea of Bratti's activities. Nandini was very anxious to narrate her woeful tale, her plightful tale. She said that Bratti and his comrades were betrayed by Anindya, who was brought in the party by Nitu, that is Bratti's friend. Neither Nitu nor Bratti tried to verify Anindya's background because Bratti had full faith in Nitu. It was due to Anindya's betrayal that Bratti and his friends were killed and Nandini was imprisoned in a solitary cell with an iron door and a small hole in the wall. The prisoners like her were taken out only to be taken to the interrogation room, which was soundproof, and the doors and the windows of which were lined with hollow rubber tubes so that the cries of the prisoners being tortured might not go out. The interrogator would burn the skin of the face with a lighted cigarette and ask questions. Oh, so you are Chatterjee's friend? She said that every burn gives a pain forever. Her experience in the solitary cell was painful. She said, keen and sharp and cutting like the knife of the surgeon in the march. Nandini was as much concerned with the chastisement to the blade of bayonet, others as to her. Nandini spoke of the physical tortures given to her during imprisonment, but she was heartbroken to see that the moment she had given herself to have made no impression on the life of the common man. She said, Sujata, plain question. Do you know what hurt me most when I came out of the prison? Giving the answer of her own question, Nandini said, when I saw how everything looked normal, wonderful, and there was a general feeling that the dark days were over, that everything had quietened down, that broke my heart. So that was a conversation between Nandini and Sujata after Bratti's death, and it has brought a lot of unknown facts about Bratti, unknown information about Bratti due to Nandini. Now we are moving. So we have discussed here 30 marks questions from the the novella Mother of 1084. Now the next 10 marks questions from the TED Talks and the two poems. So out of four questions, you need to opt here two questions each for 5 marks. Question number one: discuss the portrayal of motherland as work of art in the poem Homecoming Sun. In the process of welcoming the son back home, the poem portrays the glorious heritage, rich culture, and pride of being black in a place called home. The speaker calls his son as an unholy stranger, and he calls this land as an eighth harmony, black in the rainbow. The dark side of the moon brought to light. This is a canvas of God's master stroke. This kind of rainbow is painted by the Almighty God, which consists all the colors, including black in specific. The unholy stranger is wearing for an outfit. This outfit is painted on this great piece of art, and the stranger should walk in peace, walk alone, and walk tall, walk free, and walk naked. The motherland should feel the naked walk. The speaker tells the stranger, watch its deep rooted existence in the silent valleys which had shaken the colossus bodies of the mountain. Its footsteps could be heard in the jungle. The bodies of the mountain are very large. The ancestral spirits calling, welcoming the prodigal son. He could hear the family name in the song of the birds. The winds whispers the golden names of his tribal warriors. The fresh breeze blown into his nostrils and floats their bones turned to dust. He should walk with confidence. The ancestral spirits are welcoming the lost son returned. The speaker tells the son to walk in laughter, in rhythm, walk tall, walk free, walk naked. He wants the root of his son's motherland, cares his body, and the naked skin absorb the home sun and shine ebony. Thus, the poem is a welcome note to the unholy stranger, lost son to to the holy land called native. Question number two, measurement. The poem is a comment on modernity. Explain. Measurement is composed. The poem Measurements is composed by Navakanta Baruha, a renowned Assamese poet. This poem is an extract from Dancing Earth, an anthology of poetry from the Northeast India. It has been translated from Assamese into English by D.N. Besbaruha. It's a metaphorical poem that invites multiple interpretations. The poem can be read as manifestation of the spirit of nationhood in the background of reign of terror unleashed on the northeast India, especially on Assam, in the name of ethnic violence, communal tensions, and separatist movements. The poet's longing for the stitching of a garment for men can be taken metaphorically as stitching of all the states, including the northeastern states, into the garment of one nation called India. The poem can be read as a lament on the emptiness of human existence. The poet ironically points out that so far we have taken only measurements of living and progress of human beings. For such measurements, he says, they can only be calculations and estimation. The final lament of the poet is, when will there be a garment stitched to fit men if we go on giving fresh measurements every time? So, there will be only measurements to measure human progress, and the actual garment or the solution remains elusive to humanity to achieve peace and happiness. The poem can also be read as a critic of modern civilization, critic to modern civilization. It's a critic, it critiques the idea of development and progress. As the day is moving from evening to night, the world is moving towards darkness in the name of development and progress. In the present times, everything is measured in economic terms, but no one is concerned about what to do with these measurements or how to stitch the garment for the nation with these measurements. Even the measurements done by earlier generation will be replaced by the next generation. That means to say that generations will engage themselves only in measuring the progress of a society in economic terms, but no one will ever think of stitching the garment called happiness that will fit all human beings. No one is really thinking about one central question: what should be the solution to achieve happiness? Question number three, explain the side effects of aspirin. as mentioned by B.M.Hegde in his TED Talk, Change in Life. Speaking about aspirin, Dr. B.M.Hegde comments that people used to swallow an aspirin tablet after the age of 40 to keep the heart attack away. The audit shows while the aspirin may or may not reduce a heart attack rate, it has said 10% of aspirin takers certainly get fatal cerebral hemorrhage, brain hemorrhage. He shares an experience where he told to one of his patients to stop taking aspirin, but they didn't listen and passed away after a few years. The family members told that the doctors had given it. One day, he was phoning up a friend of his in the evening and then just collapsed and then became unconscious when the scan showed that he had blood in his brain completely and the brain was completely suppressed by the brain, sorry, by the blood, and he died on spot. So according to these are the views of Dr. B.M. Hegde, all this thing happened due to the and due to the consuming due to the consumption of or due to having aspirin tablet. Question number 4: comment on the physical challenges faced by Dr. Sparsh Shah and how did he overcome it. Sparsh was born with osteogenesis imperfecta, a rare incurable genetic disorder and causes a person's bones to be extremely fragile. So he can be called as a Mr. Glass. During his birth, he had over 35 fractures and was taken immediately to the intensive care unit ICU. And these were the sounds that used to resonate throughout the hospital, those desperately clinging on to his life. The doctors gave him the very bleak prognosis that he would live only for a day or two, but due to God's grace and the support of his parents and they never say die attitude, he survived. He had 130 fractures in the first 13 years of his life and many more to happen in future. He also had multiple screws and rods placed in his body, and he could also be called as a Iron Man. So he overcame them due to his willpower. His willpower helped him to overcome all such fear, to overcome all such physical weaknesses. Now we have discussed here those 10 marks questions from the TED Talks and poems. So we have discussed here 40 marks questions. Now we are going to have discussed here next 20 marks question. So part 1, you have here speech writing, and under one of the speeches you need to select this for 5 marks. Question number 1: prepare a ceremonial speech to deliver on receiving the Best Manager Award. So you can go through the speech, you can pause the video. I'll just tell you how to write the speech. You should have 3 important segments in your speech. Number 1, there should be the good opening. You have to greet the audience. Then the next paragraph, you should talk about what are you going to talk, on which topic you are talking. Then you should describe, you should give a speech, simple speech you need to give it, and try to bring more personal note. And at the end of the speech you are going to thank the audience. So you can pause the video and you can go through the content. Second speech we have here: write an informative speech to students about the benefits of using public transport to avoid pollution. So again, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished students, today I want to talk you about a pressing issue that affects not only our environment but also our future: pollution. Most specifically, I want to discuss how using public transport can be a powerful solution to combat pollution and why it matters to each and every one of us. So, like this, you can go through the speech on screen here. You can pause the video, and again, in the last passage, in the last paragraph, you need to reconnect your talk and you need to thank the audience. So, out of these 2 speeches, you need to select one. Now, next, answer any one question out of the 2 questions. Again, 5 marks. Number 1, minutes of meeting. It's a very important question. Draft the minutes of meeting conducted by the manager of DBA company in which the following items were discussed. What was discussed? Changing company's location, forming a new team with a manager. So there are different formats, but these are the common elements in the minutes of meeting. Number one, DBA company minutes. So date, you need to mention the date first, 16 December, time and location, attendees who have attended. So Mr. Satish Shah, manager, Mr. Narendra, though they are the attendees, Namita, Sushmita, Mukesh Soni. Agenda, change in company's location, forming a new team with a manager. Then minutes, meeting minutes. The meeting was called to order by Mr. Satish Shah at 10:30 a.m. in the boardroom. So what was discussed? Number one, change in company's location. Mr. Satish Shah initiated the discussion by addressing the proposed change in the company's location. He provided an overview of the reasons for considering this change, which included better accessibility for clients and the employees, cost effectiveness, opportunities for growth. Mr. Satish Shah opened the floor for discussion. So Mr. Mukesh Soni expressed concerns about potential disruptions to ongoing projects due to the relocation. Ms. Sushmita suggested creating a timeline to ensure a smooth transition and minimize disruptions. Ms. Namita mentioned that a detailed plan for the move, including logistics and the communication, should be prepared. So it was agreed that a relocation committee would be formed consisting of volunteers from different departments to oversee the move. The committee will report to Mr. Satisha and provide regular update on the progress. Now the second discussion was done here, forming a new team with a manager. So you can go through the minutes on screen here. Then finally, action was taken. What is the action was taken? The HR department to initiate the recruitment process. Volunteers for the relocation committee to inform Mr. Satish Shah of their participation, and the relocation committee to start planning. The next meeting, you need to mention when will the next meeting will be scheduled. The next meeting will be scheduled for 20th September at 11 to review the progress on the relocation and the status of the new team formation. Adjournment. It was concluded at 12:30 p.m. and submitted by Satish Shah, manager DBA. So this is how you need to write the minutes of meeting. Next, you need to write your experience at a beach, experience of visiting a beach. That's a kind of travelogue, a beach. So you can write your experience of visiting a beach. So you can go through this article on screen here. You can pause the video. You can go through it. Okay. Now the third question, out of these three questions, you need to attempt one question. Article on importance of celebrating festivals. So you can write the articles. You need to have very good beginning of the article, give a brief introduction about the topic, then keep describing the topic, and then finally you can write down in the key points or in the concluding remark. So opening of the article and content, and the closing of the article, you can write like this. You can pause the video and read the content. So in the section 6, out of these three questions, you can attempt one question. Now here, answer any one of the following. So this question is about the email writing and the letter writing. Anyone you need to attempt. So draft an email appreciating Miss Sonia for her ideas for avoiding plastic use. So here you need to write here to address, because the from address is by default. So you need not write from address, it's by default. So subject, appreciation for your contribution to reducing plastic usage. Dear Miss Sonia, I hope this email finds you well. I wanted to take a moment to express my sincere appreciation for your valuable contributions and innovative ideas regarding our efforts to reduce plastic usage at our organization. And your dedication and enthusiasm in addressing this critical issue have not gone unnoticed. Your recent suggestions during our team meeting, such as implementing a reusable water bottle program and reducing single-use plastics in our office kitchen, were truly insightful. Your ideas not only align with our sustainability goals, but also showcase your commitment to making a positive impact on our environment. It's inspiring to see team members like you take the initiative to find practical solutions to such important challenges. Your passion for sustainability and your proactive approach are commendable, and they serve as an excellent example for all of us. Once again, thank you, Ms. Sonia, for your dedication and innovative thinking. Your efforts are making a real difference, and I look forward to seeing the positive changes that will result from your ideas. If you have any more suggestions or would like to discuss these initiatives further, please feel free to reach out. Your input is highly valuable, highly valued. Best regard, Mahesh. Best regards, Mahesh, Senior Manager. Second question: write an email to Dr. Benny congratulating him for his promotion as senior surgeon. So you can go through this email content. So by using the same format, you need to write the email. This email is a email of congratulation. So you can go through the content and it will help you to answer. Keep it simple, straightforward, not too lengthy and not too precise. Third question is here: write a letter of termination to Mr. Henry citing reasons of misconduct. So, two emails and one letter of termination or any one letter. So, as usual, from address, date, receiver's address, salutation, and termination letter, subject, and the content I'm writing to inform you out of difficult decision that our company has made regarding your employment, made some decisions after thorough review of your conduct and performance, it has been decided that your employment with our company will be terminated effective 1st December 2023. So you need to mention the reasons for the termination, misconduct, or you can mention misconduct or any kind of fraud, any kind of financial fraud, or any kind of financial misconduct, or any kind of other uh, the other cause which you feel that more suitable for termination. So you can go through the whole description, the whole letter on screen here. Then later you need to write the questions from the social media platform. Sorry, from the social media content writing. Answer any one question. Again, out of three questions, you need to attempt one question. So here, imagine you are a travel blogger. Write a blog on the Kerala, God's own country. So I have borrowed this content of the travelogue from this source. You can see this web address. So if you are looking for a southern gateway in India, then Kerala is a perfect choice of destination to plan your escape to, and you have landed at the right place to make this tropical vacation happen. So you can go through this content, you can go through this link, you will get more ideas how to write the blog. Blog should be very simple, in a very informal language. It should be fit to be read by any reader, any type of reader, any category of reader. Next question, the last question is here from social media content writing topic. Write a short note on Instagram. 5 marks question. You have a choice. The social media platform Instagram is most popular for visuals and reels. Hence, the captions are normally brief and witty. The main objective of copy is to provide context for image or video, and open invitation for viewer to interact with it. Instagram captions are minimalist paradise. They are all about quality or quantity, demanding it to be crisp and short. At its first glance, readers will engage himself or herself if it's going to fit, if it's going to engage them. So you can see here one example of one of the Instagram content. Instagram caption limit is 2200 characters. It's always helpful if you keep the copy short, as large blocks of text will look cluttered and it will refrain the audience from engagement. Larger copy can be effective for informative or educational posts. Casual or funny posts require few words in caption. Unlike Facebook, using hashtag is an effective way to grow, optimize your reach. Hashtags categorize content and make it easier to find. You can use 30 hashtags per post on Instagram. However, populating posts with hashtag is not advisable. As popular notion goes, maximum hashtags, 11 hashtags are decent enough for a post. So friends, this is how I have solved the question paper of fourth semester B.Sc BCA. The examination held in examination held in August September 2023. And this question paper will be helpful even for the BNE student as a practice question paper. All the lessons, videos, a novella, TED Talks, poems, grammar item, letter writing, social media content writing, all the videos, links you can see in the description box. If you like the video, click on the like button, write in the description box. If you're not yet subscribed the channel, please do subscribe. Thank you so much. Wish you good luck for the examination.